All right, let's get in the trenches here with stocks that acted best on Tuesday to see if they can confirm this kind of rally. Let's start with Apple. You know, we didn't see that sell-off that we have been talking about. It was up almost 5%. Can we say the direction is now up?
We could say that it's still leading the markets, and they tried to beat it down. A lot of high beta tech stocks started breaking below their 200 days, so some Apple holders got a little concerned, you know, including me. But yesterday it opened up $4. Futures pulled in, showed relative strength, proved that it could hold higher, and it became a great trade. If you look at the chart here, you'll see it still looks constructive. You look here, this support area did hold again. It stayed within the 50-day, couldn't even get down to the 200-day. You know, I sent out a note midday that if we were to get above this 364, 365, we can easily see a move to fill this gap to about 377, and then you have a bigger trend line to deal with. So the easy trade could really take you up, maybe even today, up to about 377.
So you can still add here.
I think you could still add here. You know, it's down a little bit today. I actually started buying this morning. It was down $3, thinking it can go from negative to positive, give you a push through yesterday's high for a cash flow trade back to about 377. And then if we start to see it break this macro pennant, then we'll know that this confirmed rally might have a bit more legs.
All right, let's go to Green Mountain Coffee. Catapulted, 11% on Tuesday, and I have to say, relatively no news that I saw. It's still 16% off its high, so does it still have a lot more room?
This one held higher, different group. This has been one of the chosen runs. It's heavily shorted, actually. Look where this is. Look where the 200-day moving average is. This is the 50. It's holding in very, very well. So I would say just stay with this one. This one looks as if we're going to get any kind of leadership, 2 new highs. If this starts to break above this 97.98, you're going to get an additional move. Yesterday was a nice little cash flow trade when it broke this 3-day range, which I'm starting to see a lot of the leaders breaking this little 3-day range, and they all have some small gaps in front. This one already filled it.
You said heavily shorted, so you think yesterday was a lot of short covering then?
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, let's go to Lululemon, one of your favorite retail stocks to kind of mess around with here. Traded up almost 11%, more than 11% on Tuesday. Is it now the leader again in retail? Is it going to bring the group higher?
This was one of the momentum names. This is something that usually goes positive first. It pulled in a little bit more than some would have thought, but so did a lot of things in this market. It held above the 200-day, so showed some relative strength. Yesterday was a good trade for guys that was looking for that same type of pattern, breaking above this little 3-day range. It's already filling the gap. This has some easy room to 55. I wouldn't get excited here. I also think within this group, Home Depot and Walmart.
You mentioned those two yesterday.
Yeah, I just got to show you one because we didn't even have it on there. Look at Walmart. Walmart held higher, held this gap and is coming back into resistance. So this one has been working its way. Some investors, I guess, are looking for high liquidity names that show some value.
So Lulu might be leading the retail market higher, but that's not necessarily the best stock to play.
It depends on how fast you play things to move. Lulu moves fast, right. Walmart, Home Depot a little slower, so it depends on your risk tolerance and what you can handle.
All right, let's go to Chipotle, up almost 8%. Was this enough bounce for it to get back into the juice, I guess, the groove that it just lost?
Well, I still walk by there, and you can't get in there for lunch even past 2 o'clock. So, Warren Buffett would say that's a sign to buy. For me, the sign is that you could have bought into support. It also held the 200-day where a lot of markets went below or indices went below. It's got some easy room back to 310. But in order for it to really get frisky in this market to prove that leaders can start getting back to their highs, it's going to have to contend with 310, which is a very big level.
But you can still add here for a quick trade.
Yeah, for a quick trade, there's some room, just like a lot of these. A lot of these have some room for a quick trade, but then have a lot to prove to start breaking some of these downtrends that we've seen develop since the market started to correct back in late July.
And then wrapping it up with MasterCard, had a big move Tuesday, up over 5%. But what concerns me is that this also moves with the banks. And as we saw, Goldman and Bank of America did not participate really in yesterday's rally.
But at least MasterCard doesn't hold toxic mortgages.
Absolutely
They didn't buy Countrywide, and that's why some of these credit card issuers, even though they deal with the consumer, are acting better. And MasterCard, to me, is probably one of the best ones. Look at this, 200-day all the way down here. Support down here, didn't even make it into that area. And what is important here, look at this wide range igniting bar. It held the top end of it. So to me, this one looks like a leader. This one looks investment quality. I would stay with MasterCard.